and we'll see ya. Have fun. What did I just say? Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Next Studio. My name's Aaron, and today we're going to be discussing everything that you need to know on how to get your home studio set up. So the first thing that we're going to be discussing today is going to be your space. So think about where you want to shoot your videos at home. Do you want to do it in your living room? Do you want to do it in your bedroom? But there's just a few tips and tricks that we should follow along and adhere, so making sure that we get the best quality visuals and the best quality sound out of your overall video. Space is really critical because if you have too big of a room, what's going to happen is a lot of voice is going to be echoey and it's going to create that kind of chamber sound, and you really don't want that. So to alleviate that, you want to find a room that's going to be relatively small, such as a bedroom. Additionally, this is really good because what you find is if you have some furniture in the room, your voice doesn't sound as echoey. If you have carpet versus hardwood floor versus tile, all of these things really come into consideration. So you don't want a space that's too big and open and echoey, and then on the flip side, you don't want a space that's way too small, such as a bathroom, because what that does is your voice will echo and bounce off those walls and just create a lot of reverb. So now that we have space completely covered, let's talk about lighting and how you have several options on how to light your videos to make it look as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So when it comes to lighting, you do have two options. You have your natural lighting, and then you have your controlled light. So with natural lighting, obviously that's going to be like things like windows, doorways that have light leaking through, and you should really take advantage of that because the natural sunlight coming through a window is really beautiful. Now additionally, if you do have LED panels or any sort of lighting system, you can obviously set that up and control your light a little bit more. Now what you're looking at with my frame, you're looking at a mixture between some natural light coming through the window on this side, and then I have an LED panel set up on my left side here that's bringing light to complement. Another thing about the controlled light is that you don't need to go out and buy video gear. What you can do is you can simply remove the lampshade from a lamp and use that. Or you can use a desk lamp, whatever you have laying around that can just give a little bit of light to complement the natural lighting. That's going to be really critical to use. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about framing and we've talked a little bit about lighting. Let's talk about the background. So as you can see, I have several things in my background. Here on my right side, I have my computer with my video editing platform up. On my left side, I have a video station that's all set up and ready to go to be plugged into a laptop. And you just want to go ahead and just kind of spruce up your background, but you don't want to make it look cluttered. And that's really important because you don't want people focusing on things that are in your frame or things that are, sticking out and it's distracting. And so you want to kind of just fill in little things if you have that complement what you're speaking on. You can go ahead and put that in the frame, but again, you want to make sure it's nice and clean, nothing's cutting off. You want to make sure that you are completely framed. You want to make sure that you are about mid-waist up. You want to make sure that you have enough head space here, because if you don't, you'll cut your head off. You don't want to cut the top or your forehead off. Another thing about framing is finding the correct distance from the camera. So this is really critical when it comes to your sound and your visuals, because if you're too close, you're just gonna look kind of like you're living in the camera. But on the flip side, if you're too far, you're gonna look too far and you're gonna sound really terrible, and so people are gonna distance themselves from that, and they're not gonna actually be able to pick up what you're trying to speak on. They're gonna be more focused on the poor quality. You wanna find that nice distance between your camera. Right now I'm using a DSLR camera and I'm sitting about 6 feet from that. I think 6 feet is a really good distance because additionally you have audio gear that will pick up at certain distances and then just kind of drop off. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so let's talk about cameras because you have several options when it comes to this. Obviously, the first thing that you're going to think of when shooting a video at home is going to be your laptop computer. And that's going to be a really good option because what that does is allows you to open up your laptop, shoot something very quickly, finish it up, and you can send it to whomever needs it. On the flip side, your quality is a little bit poor because your webcam usually isn't super high quality, and then the sound from your computer, the gain levels on your microphone is really poor as well. So you're not going to have the most aesthetically pleasing image, and you're not going to sound super crisp, and so you have other options. Now, that's not to deter you from using a webcam webcam for videos. I do it, several of the team members at Nextany do it, and it's very useful when you need to send a video very quickly. But when you're trying to create something that's a little bit more beautiful and a little bit more established, what you want to do is possibly use an external camera. Now, I currently have a DSLR plugged in, and I have a capture device being sent to my computer. And what that is doing is it's sending the video signal from my camera into my computer, and I'm recording directly there. Now, I have the Sony a7 III, and that has a video output of HDMI. Now, HDMI is a pretty universal video signal that can be sent out of those cameras, and so you can do that with a number of brands: Sony, Panasonic, Canon, Nikon, etc. Additionally, there are other video output signals out there. There is composite, there's component, there's also what's called SDI, which is a more professional quality grade. As long as it has a video output and you can send that signal directly to your laptop, you can use that as your existing webcam. And so you, in turn, you get a much higher quality. Now, let's say you're using that camera. How are you picking up audio? Because a lot of cameras have poor audio directly on board. I'm complementing it with what's called the Zoom H1N. Now, this is just a little micro handheld recorder, and I'm actually gonna lift it up. I'm using this, and you probably heard the sound change there as well, but I'm using this right below my frame, and that's picking up my audio from only about 2 feet away. And then in editing, you would simply pair the audio and video together. If you have really good visuals with a camera or your laptop with your webcam, and you pair it with really high quality audio with such as an external audio recorder, in turn, you're gonna get a beautifully, aesthetically pleasing video. Okay, so we've talked about a number of different things. We've talked about framing, we've talked about composition, your video, your audio, and so on and so forth. But I want to talk about one little hack that can be utilized for all of these things, and that is bed sheets. Now, I know it's probably sounding a little confusing, but bed sheets can be used for so many things in video production. So let's say you have a number of windows in your bedroom and you're trying to shoot a video, but you're having way too much light spill in. All you have to do is tape up a bed sheet, cover up one of those windows, covers up that light, and then you can go on and set up your video studio. Let's say you don't have a single place in your home to set up a backdrop. Everything's just too messy and you just can't find a single location. Drop a bed sheet somewhere on a wall or just in the middle of the room, and then just go ahead and set up with that. You know, even though it's a completely flat image in the back, it'll still give you a nice, image, and that way you'll be able to get your point across. People won't be focused on something that's distracting in your background, and it's just going to be one clean, flat image. Using bed sheets for audio is really critical. Let's say you have a big, echoey open room, and that is literally your only option. Even though bed sheets are super thin, if you hang up a few in several different locations and just kind of scatter them around, the sound will definitely be muffled and absorb the sound so it doesn't sound as echoey and hollow. So that is my one hack for setting up your video studio at home. Hopefully that gave you a lot of information on a home studio, but just talking a little bit further about that, if you want to watch the next episode, we're going to be going over everything editing. So that's going to be the next step in the process. We invite you to watch that next week, and we'll see you.